turkeys are coming to help me. You can see the turkeys coming down here. Supervisors. Hey, welcome back to another episode of Maintenance with Mike. So today we've got a bit of a different one. Today we are looking at repairing a Creaky chair seat. So I've got this set that was my great-grandparents that came from France. They don't build furniture like this anymore, so you want to save it. You really do. I'm going to show you a few pieces here just so you can see what's happened. Is like, it's actually absolutely gorgeous furniture, real wood. So these are, they actually have like a dado that fits into the chair back. I've repaired these holes. They were stripped out, so I've drilled them out a little bit, put a dowel in, glued it. I'm going to cut those off, but you can see all the chair legs where they attach, they're all doweled. So that's the back. We've got new dowels, a bunch of different sizes. This is the bottom piece. Those are all doweled as well, but the glue on these is failing. You can see that the glue that they had is all crystallized. These are the braces underneath the seat that go in the corners. And what we're going to show you here that's on the drill press is they've got dowels that go into the legs for the seat portion. I broke those dowels off when I was trying to remove it, and I'll show you why it broke. They actually have these little nails that they nailed in through the leg into the dowel, so the dowel couldn't pull out. So yes, it's creaky and the chair moves around while you're sitting on it, but it's still safe, right? Because it's all doweled and there's no way the dowel can come apart. But what you want to do is clean all that out and re-glue it. We're going to be using these Forstner bits to drill us our 1/2-inch dowel size hole. And I'll show you how I'm going to do that. But let's take you over to the drill press where we're going to try to tap out that nail that's holding that last dowel in. Then we're going to flush cut those dowels off so we can get a nice center point to use the Forstner bit to re-drill the 1/2-inch dowel hole. So let's get started. Let me show you what we've got here. You can see right here that nail head, and that nail's driven on an angle through, and you can see the shiny part of that nail inside that dowel. So what we want to do is we want to clamp that, put a punch on that nail, and punch it back down so the nail comes out of here. Is the idea. We've got an assortment of punches here and sets. Some that are pointy for setting nails, but we also have some that have like a concaved end shaped like this to put on the nail head so this punch doesn't slip off now, right? So let's see if we can tap that out. If anything I've learned with this stuff is gently, always gently. Oh, this is not tight yet. Let's tighten that up so that doesn't rotate. And like I said, we're going to basically tap this nail out. Then we're going to flush cut this shrapnel off here so we can get a nice clean centered Forstner bit. So we're going to put that on the head of the pointy side of the nail and see if we can tap it. Oh, you can see that's working its way out now. I'd like to maybe grind that off a little bit. There, you can see we've got the nail coming out now. You can see that that's raised up now. So we're going to see if we can pull that nail. Now the bottom, they only had one nail on the top dowel. They didn't have it on both, thankfully for us. So we're going to grab a hammer and see if we can slide it on there and see if I can lightly pull this out. You can see there's a little piece fractured here on the top. I think what we're going to do is we're going to flush cut those. We're going to peel this back just a little bit to get some weld bond. You can see that popping up there now. I want to get some weld bond underneath that and clamp that tight and reglue it and let it set in place before we do the drilling with the Forstner bit. I don't want this to get all chewed away and now we're missing this chunk of wood, right? So very slow and methodical. So we're going to see now if we can pull this out nicely without wrecking things. See if those claws are in there nice. Oh, those are very thin. It basically just flattened the nail head out. We've rounded the nail off a little bit here. We may not be able to use these nails again. We'll see. I'd really like to because they are the original nails. Let's see if we can get a bit more of a bite on that. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, so we got the nail out. But you can see we've sort of rounded the shoulders of that. We can probably straighten the nail out and flatten those back down to reuse that. We'll put that in the little tray there. But now we've got the nail out of there. I think I'm just going to pop this piece of. I can't really glue that until after I cut these flush. So that's the piece that we don't want to lose, eh? So let's set that aside. And it goes that way. So that when after we flush cut these, I can put that piece back in there, glue it and clamp it, and then wait till it cures, and then we'll cut these off. So what we're using for this is just a Dremel multi-tool. And it's basically just your standard Dremel with a cutoff blade. We're going to just trim off that shrapnel dowel that's hanging out there. Right? Let's do this lightly. The best we can without damaging some things here. Watch your ears. Don't want to push too hard. So now you can see where that original dowel was. We'll cut this one off now. Okay, so that's got that. Now you can see where the original holes are that we can match up the new Forstner bit with. Whoop, 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 whoop. And we are going to select the 1/2 inch, which is this one here. And we're going to set that up in the drill press, and we are going to line this up and clamp that perfectly so that we drill the new dowel hole. Now, we can't drill too deep, and I'll tell you why. Because there's like I said, another dado here where that seat post has to be clamped into, and you can see there's some residual glue in there and some stuff. So we'll probably use a smaller Forstner bit and just drill this out so that that glue is all gone and we have fresh wood to adhere to. But that's what we want to do here. We want to flush cut those original dowel pins out. We're going to put this piece back in here now. You can see how nice, once we glue and clamp that, it'd be nice to get that repaired like that. So let me get some glue and a clamp. Okay, so we're just gonna, now we know how that fits, we're gonna pop this back out of here. So this little piece has to go up a bit and it slides underneath there. So we're gonna put a little bit of weld bond into that, underneath of that little piece. And now our other piece, we're just gonna put some glue in this cracked section here. And this will dry clear. Now, keep in mind, I'm being very picky here because the side piece of the chair, you don't see this. You may just see this edge, but more than likely you won't see this this repair. But for me, it's worth doing, just because I know. Okay, so we put that piece right in there now. We're gonna get our clamp and we're gonna squeeze down on this so that it stays in place now. So I just use, like, this is just a shim from a pack from a hardware store. Um, Basically what we're going to do is we're going to put one shim here, one shim on this side so we don't mar the wood. And we're just going to use like a standard C-clamp on here. It's not, we don't want to get too crazy, and I want to use my Craig, because I'm going to keep going here while this sets up. So I'm going to go put this in the house because it's still a little bit cold out here today for this to cure properly. And once that's cured, I'm going to keep going with the other ones. There's no point in showing you 15 of those or 16 of those to do, but I'm going to keep going with the other ones. And when this is set, I will come back and show you how to redowel that with the Forstner bit. So, okay, so that leg is still drying, the glue. So we have to drill the other side of this anyway. You can see we did the same scenario here. This is underneath the seat. We've flush cut those dowels off. We've got our Forstner bit in the drill press centered. We've got our level that we've put on this side of the product to make sure we're not drilling off centered. We can check the table. You can check the table this way as well to make sure we're not drilling, through it the wrong way. So we're all sort of centered up here. I'm going to grab a tape measure and I'm going to mark this bit how far we want to go down. I think if we do, the original ones are about 1 inch of dowel. I'm going to measure this. We don't have to match this because these two new dowels will have to be, the holes will have to be drilled in the leg as well that's drying. But if we choose to have an inch inserted and an inch above, we'll just make it so it matches. It doesn't have to be as deep as these ones are. So let's grab a tape and have a quick look at that. Now, I don't know if any of you guys that have one of these Ryobi drill presses, I've had this thing forever, Handles are sort of all busted off from moving around. Anyway, you can reset this to 0 by unscrewing this and spinning this collar. I don't remember if that works properly, but obviously we're going to try that and see if we can get the 1 inch. So the original dowels were, looks like 1.25 inches. We're going to go 1 inch on these ones. Well, we're going to try to go 1 inch. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mark. Oh, it looks like the 1 inch mark is right at the top of the collar here where it changes from black steel to the chrome. So we're going to use that as a gauge instead of putting tape on it. That is a nice bonus. So we're just going to make sure all these clamps are tight. Okay, so we're going to go just slightly past this so that when we cut our new dowel, we can cut it right at 2 inches. And then we know for certain that these two will bottom out or clamp together. So we're going to have a total of a 2 inch dowel and probably a 2.25 hole just to make sure that we have some movement there to make sure these are clamped. So I think we're ready to fire up the drill. So that's going. We'll watch our gauge here and see if that is actually accurate. We're going to go super slow. Yeah, this thing's not changing at all. It's still at 0, so I really don't know how that works. So we're basically just cutting out that old dowel that's there. Come back up again, make sure we don't have any problems. If you go too fast or try to take too much off at once here, you could have an issue. It's hard to tell if that's still the original dowel or not. Oh. Ooh, got it loose. That's interesting. Chuck. Now, I'm wondering if I actually tightened that or if I forgot. Well, it looks like it's still the old dowel that we're drilling out, so that's good. Let's just make sure that that's tight. I don't want to have that flop back out of there again. Okay. Back at her. Down slow. Looks like the turkeys are coming to help me. And you can see the turkeys coming down here. Supervisors. I think that's probably really close to where we want to be here. I think that's right at the top of that. Yeah. Okay, so let's have a look at that. That's our first. Nice. So there we've got a nice dowel hole drilled back in there again. That's a 1/2 inch. So it's going to match up with this dowel rod here. We'll probably sand this down slightly, so I don't want to crack this, pounding the dowel in. The glue will help sort of... no, I don't think we'll have to sand it, actually. It's going to go in there nicely. Once we put some glue on there, we'll be able to tap that in. So we're going to have 1 inch in the seat frame and 1 inch into the leg. So we'll be able to cut that dowel at 2 inches. So let's get set up and drill the next one out here. And then, like I said, that other one's still drying. So that will have to come when we put it all back together, when you see the chair back together. We're going to put our level on there, make sure we're drilling straight. We're going to put our rag here. I'm going to clamp to this frame. More clamp up here. Yeah, that's still good. Make sure we're still straight with the level. And next one. And looks like we're there already. Now you can also check that by using you could use a 1/4 inch dowel, right? Shove the 1/4 inch dowel in till it bottoms out, stick your nail there, and then we're going to throw a tape on that and see what we're roughly looking at. So we're, well, maybe a 32nd under 1 inch down. So I'm good with that. We'll cut that dowel to slightly under 2 inch then, just to make sure that we... you don't want the dowel to bump up inside the holes and not have the face of these actually glue as well. That would be no good. So that's the repair. So that's going to do it for today's video. That basically shows you the basics of re-drilling a dowel. You want to obviously get a sander, clean up all these mating surfaces, get it all nice and ready and prepped for re-gluing. That leg is still curing, so we can't drill those out yet, but the same, we're going to do the same thing here with that leg. We'll stick it in the drill press and drill those out, glue the new dowels in. We'll put all back together, and I'll show you this chair back together, glued and cured, versus sitting in one of the other chairs that hasn't been taken apart and re-glued. So we appreciate you hanging out with us for a bit today. If you like these videos, maybe consider subscribing to the channel. We'll see you on the next one. Cheers.